Yo, you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNI toy review. And for today, I'm looking at the brand new Transformers Siege Crosshairs figure from Hasbro. This is a deluxe Transformer. Now, if you caught my recent Siege reviews, you'll know that like with those, I got this one from New York Comic Con. The folks at Hasbro had brought us in to let us kind of play around with some of these new Siege Transformers. And at the end of the session, they actually let us take these home. So because of that, I actually do not have the packaging for this one anymore, but I will tell you it comes in just your basic Siege window box style of packaging, and the figure is in its robot mode when you take it out of the box. And as far as accessories go, you only get this blaster weapon, which is called the Doom Blast, I believe is the official name for it, and it's just done with red on the front and black on the back. You do have the metallic silver on the front of the weapon, which looks pretty good. And then you can actually take this front piece and you can bend it down, almost looks like an axe, and you can have them hold it up here on this portion, or you can have them hold it down here kind of as a bazooka or what have you. So it's kind of a cool looking weapon. Now, as far as I can tell, this figure, it mostly is just a repainted version of the Siege Ironhide, which I do not have. But I believe really the only thing new or different about this figure other than the paint applications is the head sculpt. And just to give you a little closer look at the weapon, I really like how the metallic silver on the front looks. And, it looks like it's almost like a little rocket launcher or something. And then, I like the red and the black. Those are my two favorite colors, so I think it's a cool looking weapon. Now, again, I think this is the same weapon that the Ironhide figure comes with, only repainted. And again, you can kind of do it down like that. So to me, I mean, you could kind of hold it like this, I guess, so it could fire. But to me, this really almost makes it look more like an axe type weapon when you do it like this. Now, when you have him hold the rifle and is, like a regular gun, it's more like a bazooka because it's so long. So that does kind of limit, you can't really bend his arm when he's holding the weapon like that. And then again, you can kind of have him hold it so he's kind of holding it down at his side. Or you can, basically do this forward so it's more of like, an axe type weapon. Or I guess, again, he could shoot missiles out like this. You can also put the weapon on his shoulder. It'll plug into the holes back here, so you can use it as kind of a shoulder cannon. It looks kind of silly because it sticks all the way back, pretty far back there. But again, technically, if you want to do it, and it looks good from the front, it just looks kind of funny from the side and the back there. And then getting a closer look at the figure. So again, this is a different head sculpt than the Ironhide figure. It is more in keeping with the G1 version of Crosshairs. Now, the original Crosshairs was our Target Master toy. You do not get a Target Master weapon included with the figure, but I believe his Target Master's name was Pinpointer in the original G1 series, and I believe they've actually done a Pinpointer Target Master. If I'm not mistaken, I actually had to look this up, so I could be mistaken, but I believe it came with the Deluxe or the Legends Windblade figure, which was a Takara version. And I don't know if it's been released here in the US. I don't think it has, and I don't know if Hasbro has any plans to release it here in the US, but hopefully so you can match them up with, the actual Crosshairs, which, like I said, in the G1 cartoon was his Target Master. But for the figure, I do like this head sculpt. It looks pretty accurate to how the G1 toy looked. The overall look of the G1 toy was not the greatest. And, I think even though this is just a repainted Ironhide, I think this body actually works pretty well for a modern version of this character. And he's got the red eyes, just black plastic. But I like the, this piece that covers his face there, his mouth. You got some nice sculpting detail. Nice sculpting detail on the sides. And then he's got the windshield here in his vehicle mode. This is the front of the car. And you've got the Autobot symbol on there, which I think looks pretty good. This is just a clear translucent plastic, so you can see the inside there. That's where I guess the driver would sit in his vehicle mode. So I think that looks good. And I like the colors on this guy. I like the blue and the red. I think it looks nice. It's basic paint applications, but, fairly solid. And then with the black, in the lower arms and everything. So, I definitely like this color scheme, kind of a patriotic look, almost like a Captain America type design. And then on the legs, you've got some metallic silver and some blues. So I like that, here with the vents and everything. Looks like stickers, but it's actually painted on there. And that looks actually really nice. And again, in keeping kind of with the original G1 toys. On the back, it's just, you know, pretty much just black plastic and blue, you know, not a whole lot of detail on the back of them. But overall, you know, like I said, not 100% to the likeness of the original G1 toy in my opinion, but definitely I think a nice modern update, even though it is just a repaint. Now Crosshairs here in his robot mode stands just about 6 inches tall, maybe a hair underneath. And here's a comparison with the recent Deluxe Spinster from the Siege line, and these two are pretty close to the same height if you count to the tops of their heads. Spinster is maybe a hair taller, and then of course if you count this back piece and his blades, Spinster is definitely taller than Crosshairs. And for one other comparison, here's a look at the recent Windcharger and Brawn figures that Hasbro did, and Crosshairs is definitely taller than they are. Now for articulation, you can turn the head all the way around. You can rotate the arms all the way around. You can get the arms out good. You have a little bit of up and down movement with this joint here. So that gives you a little extra arm movement. And then you also get a bicep swivel. You get a single hinged elbow, but you can bend it pretty good there. And then for the hands, you can rotate the hands, and that's pretty much it. That's the only articulation you get with the hands. And then with the midsection, you can rotate there at the waist, and he can bend down at the waist, but he doesn't have like any kind of ab crunch or anything. And then with the legs, he can do the splits good. You can get the leg forward good, and you can do the leg back. He does have a thigh swivel up there, which is nice. And then with the knee, he can bend his knee really good there. Essentially just a single hinge joint, but still pretty good bending. And then with the feet, you can do the feet like this, but that doesn't really add anything. So I would say you really don't get much in the way of any kind of foot articulation with this one. Now to transform Crosshairs from his robot to vehicle mode, it's a pretty simple transformation. First thing you can do is take this red piece, this chest piece, and just open it up. And then you can take the head and push it inside there and close this back up. Then come back here and take this black piece and just pull it backwards. And that will release this piece so that you can then rotate it. And what you want to do is rotate it so it's facing upward. Now you do have to kind of lift up so that, because the arms will have a tendency to get caught on the body. But what you want to do again is to have this piece just facing completely upward. And then once you do that, you can take this black piece in the front here, and it should, if you've got everything lined up right, should just click into place. And now you've got the front of your vehicle. Now you can take the legs, and what you want to do is open up these top portions of the legs, and then you can take the arms and you're going to bring them around. You want to make sure these holes on the arms are facing upward, and then you're going to put the arms together. There's a little tab here and there's a little hole here. So what you want to do is basically just have them come together and push together like that. Now finally what you want to do is these hands, the hands are going to essentially fit into the back of the vehicle like that. And so you just want to kind of bring the legs, and the legs will attach. You've got a hole here and a little peg here. So if you get everything lined up correctly, then you should be able to bring the legs back, and they should cover up the hands, and then the legs should click into place like that. And then finally just take these pieces here on the side and pull them up forward, and they should click into place. And now you have Crosshairs in his vehicle mode. Now Crosshairs here in his vehicle mode, you know, it's a Cybertronian type vehicle mode, and I guess it's some type of all-terrain type vehicle or van, you know, and again, you know, it looks very similar to the Ironhide since it's the same mold. But I do like the red and the blue, and I like, you know, the detailing on the sides here. Now these are his legs in his robot mode, but I like how this looks here with the blue and the silver and blue, and then the metallic silver up here. You got the little bit of white here on the side. The wheels are hard plastic, but it does actually roll pretty good. You've got back here, these are the feet in robot mode, but you know, these look like they might be doors or something that would open up so you could store stuff in the back. You know, they don't open or anything, but that's what it kind of looks like. You've got the holes on the top here, so you can take his weapon if you want. You can plug it in there. So, you know, he's got the cannon on the top there. He's got the windshield on the front, which does have the Autobot symbol there right in the middle. So it would kind of make it hard to see out if somebody was actually driving in there. And you know, the head's in there, but you don't see it because, you know, it's facing, you basically just see the back of the head. So overall, I think it looks pretty good. And the front here, you've got the metallic silver for the headlights, and you've got this white piece, which looks like, maybe some type of crane or something, a hook and rope that you pull out so that you can pull stuff out or something. And these might be, fog lights. You've got a little bit of, I like the wash here on the front. It's not just straight black plastic. You've got a metallic silver wash, so it looks like actual metal. You've got that on the front as well. So I like that detailing. So overall, like I said, very similar to Ironhide because it's the same mold, but definitely, I think it's kind of a cool looking Cybertronian type vehicle. And in vehicle mode, he's about 5.5 inches in length, and his height is just under 2 inches. And just for a quick comparison, here's a look at Brawn, that recent Brawn that Hasbro did in his vehicle mode along with Crosshairs. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I would say is the toy itself, it's definitely, I think, a pretty solid Transformer. I like the robot mode. It's got a pretty cool Cybertronian vehicle mode. I like the color scheme with the blues and the reds and everything. So from that aspect, I think it's definitely a good Transformer. Now, this does seem to be just a reuse of the Ironhide mold with a different head sculpt. So I don't know how people feel about that type of thing, and I'm not sure it necessarily translates 100% to the likeness of the original G1 version, which I did not have, and honestly, I'm not terribly familiar with this character. I've only, for reference, I've just looked at some images online. So, it's kind of hard to call from that aspect, but I think it works pretty good. Again, I like the color scheme on this one. I like the head sculpt, which does seem to be pretty much in keeping with the G1 toy. Would have been nice if we'd gotten his actual Target Master, but I know this is a deluxe, and that's not really something that they do with these. But, again, I think overall it's a pretty solid toy. Now, we have a full image gallery for the entire Wave 5 of the Siege line up at tformers.com. I'll have a link to that in the video description below. As always, if you're so inclined, like the video. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.